What's going on, guys?
You got a backdrop and everything.
Well, I'm currently in my house and it's a little bit in disrepair, so we're okay.
I think Mariah's got the first one for you.
Yeah, got it. Thanks, Brett. Hey, Ethan. I also appreciate the backdrop. So you dropped your news kind of all at once that you were coming back for the 2021 season and that you had the ACL injury. So did the injury at all factor your decision to come back for another season?
I think maybe a little bit like subconsciously. I know Jeremy and the guys have done an incredible job rehabbing guys that have had injuries in the past. So that gave me a lot of confidence that I could come back and get better through them. They did a great job. I don't know if that was like the number one decision though. I think there's definitely some meat on the bone still for this whole team. Like I said, I think in the tweet, I have a lot to prove, and I think this team does as well. And that's the main reason that we all wanted to come back. And you heard from Blake and James as well. Same thing.
So I can't imagine what that injury is like, and you decided to keep playing on it. Like, why did you decide to keep playing on it? What was that like?
I will never let this team down. I mean, that's something that I really care about. Like the guys on the team, Blake and James. I mean, they work their tails off every single day, and seeing the work that they put in, I want to be the guy that is, that they're already confident in me to do the job. So I want to go out there and, continue to provide them the emotional support as well as giving them a good ball.
And what leg was it? Or
So it was my right knee. I tore it against the first punt of the third quarter against Iowa.
okay. And what's your recovery? Like, what's been the recovery so far? I see you still have your bracelet on.
I do. I need the bracelets in case I get hurt again. They don't shoot me up with something in my leg and then it's super kaput. But so far so good. I've been hanging out at the house most of the time. Mom, dad, and brother all work, so they're kind of out and about. I got my dog with me. She has a pretty good bedside manner, so she's been helping me out a lot. Other than that, though, it's just been working on little rehab stuff every day, getting better one day at a time.
Great. Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks, Brian.
Ethan, what's the outlook on that rehab for, you have a very specific set of skills, the crouch and the accuracy is everything. So what's the outlook on when you can get back to actually snapping?
Yeah, well, I'm not able to crouch yet, unfortunately, but we're going to work towards that for sure. But I'd say the outlook looks really good. That's part of the reason why we did the surgery when we did. Talking with Jeremy and Dr. Bain, they were able to kind of get me on just give me somewhat of a sense of what it's going to look like, what the next few months are going to look like. And it looked overwhelmingly positive, like I'd be able to play again, knock on wood. So I took that and ran with it, I guess.
So with the, laid up after knee surgery, is there a little surge of artwork coming is that how you're passing your time?
That would probably be more productive use of my time, but it's not. It's not what I've been doing recently. It's been a lot of video gaming and watching football, college football. I mean, we have all those bowl games that have been going on, Big Ten showing out. But yeah, not a whole lot of doing anything. I'm pretty landlocked. I can't really sit down either because that one leg has to be pretty straight, so it's not really conducive to being in an art setting.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. Thanks, Robert.
Ethan, what are the video games of choice as you're hunkered down to the couch?
Being a college football player, I busted out the old NCAA 14. I've been playing that a fair bit. There's my brother introduced me to video game mods, which are super crazy, and you can edit stuff, and it's super crazy. And so there's one that's out right now. It's college football revamped. And so they redid all of the jerseys and uniforms. So I've been slowing my roll in the dynasty, waiting for the Illinois job to open up. It hasn't come yet. Still stuck in the Sun Belt, but we'll get there eventually.
So college PC, I'm guessing if it's the mod, right?
No, it's actually through
Really?
PlayStation 3. Yeah, so the old girl's still keeping up somehow. I definitely haven't cracked into that in a few years, but it's going all right.
So how did you remember the play? Obviously you do, but how did you tear your ACL?
Originally I thought I got rolled up on, and then like that's what I told the docs and everything. And I was watching film the next day, and I was like, there was nobody even close to being around me, so that was definitely not what it was. Um, but it was kind of one of those situations where your foot just gets stuck in the turf. I had the defender kind of on my side, on my hip there, and he was trying to give me a far punch, so I trying to rip by, and I don't know, foot stayed in the turf.
So did anybody know, like, I think for us watching, I don't remember seeing like a limp or anything. Was that a point like, okay, I cannot let anybody know about this who's not in this inner circle? How did you kind of keep that under wraps for a month or whatever it was?
Well, part of the thing was for that particular game, Aiden Hall, our backup, who has done an outstanding job. I'm so proud of him. Um, he was out due to, I think he was COVID traced that week, so he wasn't available to play. So our Preston Ingle would have had to go in, and I knew that he hadn't had as much experience, so I didn't want to put all that on him going against a really tough team like Iowa for your first snap, having to run down the field. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go in and bite the bullet. I didn't really want to tell anyone about what was going on. To be frank, we didn't know that it was a torn ACL until that next week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I ended up finding out that it was torn. Um, so I mean, all those, like, that was kind of the cocktail that led up to just wanting to stay in and keep everything under wraps.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
Hey, Ethan, I appreciate the NCAA football 14. It's always a great game to play. When you're rehab during, I know with as he tore his last season, how different would it be during a pandemic than during a normal time frame from a torn ACL?
You kind of cut out there a little bit, but what I heard you say was, what is the time frame difference between a regular ACL tear and then this with COVID? Is that right?
Yeah, and just how different the rehab process is with maybe limited time in the facility or having not being able to go to different places because you just can't.
Yeah, I'm not sure how that is yet. I think the biggest difference is everyone will be wearing masks, but beyond that, I don't think there's like a tremendous amount of differences. I mean, a lot of it is you're doing things by yourself, testing the knee, putting weight on it, and eventually getting up to the point where you're able to really use it. So this is my first ACL tear, so I'm not really sure how it's supposed to be. Hopefully, it's my last one as well. So I'm not sure what the outlook's supposed to look like, but I'm sure that there'll be some differences with the pandemic as well.
And when you kind of look at this opportunity to come back with Blake and with James, what's this opportunity mean to you to be able to run it back with those guys one more season?
Oh, it means everything. I mean, we all came in at just about the same time. I mean, I love those guys. They're fantastic dudes. Like Court and Blake both said. I mean, like we've come best friends from our experiences that we've shared together. We've faced highs and lows, and to be able to run it back one more time and hopefully have our best season yet. I mean, that's our goal. We want to have our best season yet. I mean, it's really special. I'm looking forward to being able to do it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alec.
Ethan, I just got one for you. You've kind of mentioned this. It's a pretty eclectic group with the KPS unit. We got a guy from Ireland, two from Australia. What is the camaraderie like in that room, or what's the dynamic like between all you guys? Because I know you're all close.
Yeah, very multicultural for sure. I mean, we get along famously. I think it's really interesting that we have a lot of different age groups and a lot of different nationalities, that it's all kind of blending together into this really interesting mix. And I think the fact that we all have different experiences and all have different points in our life that we're at is really, really exciting. And I think it helps that we're able to all kind of corral each other and give each other advice. I mean, that's one thing that Coach Ligg and Coach Garrett have preached, is that like we're trying to build off of each other. So, I have a bad snap and Aiden's like, hey, you didn't really follow through, or, James doesn't kick off quite as well as he normally does. And Caleb, hey, your foot's too far. And then Blake and Hugh, like Australian stuff, they got it. So like it all plays off really well together, I think. And we have quite the community together.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Hey, Ethan, glad your surgery went well. James talked about, you guys kind of having committed to a school when you chose to come to Illinois. Obviously, Illinois gave you a scholarship. That's not something you always see with long snappers. I'm just wondering, did you feel a sense of loyalty to Illinois as the institution for the opportunity that you got?
Absolutely. I think that's a great point, Gavin. I mean, part of my experience was I came in as a walk-on in the fall of 2016, and uh, they basically told me they didn't want me, and I had to wait until the spring. So to say that the school impacted my decision is really, really truthful. But I mean, just having all the experiences that I've had with the guy in this group, I mean, I feel like I owe it to not only the university, but James and Cord as well, or I'm sorry, James and Blake as well. I mean, all these guys deserve the best from me, and I think that's part of the reason why I want to keep giving back, and hopefully we'll be able to do something really exciting and really special.
Thanks, Ethan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gavin.
I'd like to ducktail off of Gavin's question in the sense of just asking you about your conversation you had with Coach Bielema about wanting to return. And was there any apprehension about beforehand of, is this guy even going to want me to come back? Is he going to want me to come back on scholarship? What's the deal going to be going on here? What was that kind of like for you as you went through the decision-making process and then went through a conversation with him?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that you kind of get from a walk-on. I mean, it's part of the culture. We've built a fantastic walk-on culture at Illinois. You have, Mike Marquez, Sean Coughlin, Alec McCarron. The list goes on. Alex Pilstrom, who was on scholarship, Donnie Navarro was on scholarship. I mean, all these guys have an incredible amount of toughness and grit, and I think that's what gets you through any of the tough times. So, I mean, I was fully ready for anything that he was going to say, whether that be, we're going to welcome you back with open arms, or you need to find a new place to stay. But I mean, I'm so thankful that he was willing to say, I mean, when he called me up, it was Christmas Eve. I was wrapping gifts, baking cookies for Santa. And, he, like Blake said, his first comments weren't about football. It was, about me and my expectations. And I thought that was really awesome. And as conversation went on, he was gracious enough to say, we want you back. And I said, yeah, I'll definitely hit you up on that.
Thanks, Ethan. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Matt.
Can I ask, what Sunbelt team are you currently the head coach of?
Coastal Carolina.
Jumping on the bandwagon.
Well, that was one of the teams that wasn't in the original game, but it's in the modded version. So I had to try out that teal field. Got to get the molds going.
Do you play, does your brother play? Like, a personal dream of mine is to land a recruit over somebody in a dynasty and really, start an issue with my friends. Like, do you play with your brother and have that competitiveness?
My brother Bryce is not a huge sports video game guy. I mean, he will kick your butt in pretty much any other game, but he's not a sports game guy. I've just been doing it by myself because everyone else is out doing their own thing. So it's an offline dynasty, but I mean the rewards are definitely still the same.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks, Joey.
Hey, Ethan, can you do Road to Glory as a long snapper? Do you know yet?
All right, so I have a bone to pick with the entire EA Sports franchise here, and it's that long snappers are not available in the game. They're listed as tight ends. So long snapper is a spot on the depth chart, but long snapper is not a position in the game. So I don't know, call your local congressman and figure that one out.
Thank you.
I think that's all we got for you, Ethan.
Awesome. Thanks,
Everybody
guys.
good? Appreciate you.
Take care. Happy holidays.
See ya.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ethan.
Thanks, Ethan.